Tales in the Key of Terror. Danny Cooper jerked backwards as the bottle came crashing down onto the table and shattered into 1,000 glittering fragments. He grimaced as a slither of glass embedded itself in his cheek. "You goddamn stinking cheat!" exclaimed Snakebite McFarlane, the toughest bare-fist fighter in New Mexico, tossing aside what little of the bottle remained in his massive fist. He stood up abruptly and glared at Danny across the jumble of screwed-up banknotes and playing cards on the table between them. Danny glanced at his friend and fellow cattle rustler, Texas Rex, who gave a slight nod to indicate that he would back whatever decision Danny chose to make. Thus reassured, he plucked a fragment of glass from his cheek and rose ominously to his feet. "I don't take kindly to no accusations of cheating, so you'd better apologize, or you and me ain't gonna be friends no more." The fact he had been cheating was neither here nor there. If word got around that he'd as good as admitted it by letting Snakebite's accusation go unchallenged, then he had about as much chance of infiltrating another game as Texas Rex had of running for president. "Is that a fact?" Snakebite demanded, clenching his fist so tightly his knuckles cracked. It was said the man had earned his nickname by ripping the head off a rattlesnake, which had had the misfortune to bite him, and standing there, looking into his piercing eyes, Danny could well believe it. Even so, he was not about to back down. "That is most definitely a fact. You going to apologize?" "I'd rather die," Snakebite bellowed. Danny tapped his peacemaker meaningfully. "Exactly what I had in mind." The two men locked eyes across the table, standing like statues, each waiting for the other to make the first move. Danny felt a bead of sweat trickle down the side of his face, but ignored it. In a situation like this, letting yourself be distracted was a good way to get yourself killed. In the end, it was Snakebite who broke first, reaching for his gun. Fortunately for Danny, his carefully honed reflexes were second to none. He drew a split second after Snakebite, but it was him who fired the first and only shot, burying a bullet in the other man's forehead. He turned to Texas Rex. "How you doing, Tex?" Texas Rex fired a volley of shots around the table. "Okay, I guess, for a man about to die. Are we going to get out of here anytime soon?" "Fine by me," he replied. "Let's make a break for it." He rose to one knee and fired rapidly at a pair of gunmen who were just visible over the top of the bar. He smiled in satisfaction as the two men fell to the floor. Then he saw a flicker of movement out of the corner of his eye. Assuming it to be a sign of some pending attack, he whirled around and unleashed a volley of bullets. Only then did he realize that what he'd seen was actually the boy from the balcony, rushing down the stairs towards the bar, crying out for his daddy, who was presumably one of the men Danny had just killed. The boy collapsed to the floor, his body riddled with wounds. He sat up in bed and rubbed his eyes. The curtains were drawn, so the room was in relative darkness, though a lone beam of moonlight shone weakly through the narrow gap in the centre. Suddenly, his eyes were drawn to a movement in the doorway. A shiver ran down his spine as he saw a shadowy figure standing in the passageway beyond. He'd wondered how long it would be before the apparition made another appearance, and now, here it was! The figure stood there watching him, accusation burning in its unseen eyes. He hugged his shoulders, trying to stop himself from shaking. What do you want? The ghost, if that's what it was, didn't answer, but took a slow step towards him. He edged backwards on the bed, his heart sounding like thunder in his ears. What do you want? He repeated hysterically. Get the hell away from here! Leave me alone! Still, there was no reply. Instead, the figure entered the room, advancing inexorably, the light seeming to retreat before it. It was larger than before, looming over Danny like an angel of death. He continued his panic-stricken shuffling across the bed until he felt his back press up against the headboard. Sam's fighter spun out of control under a volley of laser fire from the alien vessel and plunged like a meteorite towards the planet below. Computer, estimate damage from impending crash, he barked at his in-flight computer. The computer's response was cool and emotionless.
At current speed of descent, there is a 97% chance the spacecraft will disintegrate on impact. Advise immediate evacuation.
Sam felt the blood drain out of his cheeks. He had no choice but to bail out. Hello, Trouble? It's your old friend Sam, he muttered as he reached for the button that would send him shooting out of the top of his fighter. Crossing the fingers of his free hand for luck, he flipped open the protective cover and slammed down his palm. Mr. Carlton, came Barry Dixon's voice, loud and impatient. I get the distinct impression you're not giving me your full attention. Am I boring you? Sam's daydream evaporated abruptly. The interior of his ship, morphing back into Dixon's office at the top of the Dixon Enterprises skyscraper in Houston, a spacious, spotlessly clean room, with plush furniture of chrome and leather, self-tinting windows, neural interface climate controls, and other state-of-the-art amenities. As I was saying, Dixon went on, one of our cargo ships was supposed to dock at a processing station the day before yesterday with a consignment of iron ore. It never arrived. As far as we can tell, the ship powered down in the vicinity of Mars and is now adrift. All attempts to contact the crew have failed, and we can't gain remote access to the computer. Your job, if you choose to take it, is to head up there to find out what's happened. Any theories? Sam asked. Dixon shrugged. Could be marauders, but at this point it's pure speculation. He looked Sam up and down, frowning. I assume you realize that what I'm asking you to do might be dangerous. Well, of course, said Sam, trying to sound as if he dealt with this kind of work all the time. He drew his laser pistol and stepped aboard, making his way cautiously along the main corridor, rounded, with strip lights along the floor and doorways to either side. He checked the various rooms as he passed them. Quarters with 2 berths for the crew, kitchen, bathroom. There was no damage, no evidence of intruders, nothing to give him cause for concern. Then he came to the escape pod dock, and his throat went dry. The pod had been jettisoned. Obviously, one or both of the crew had abandoned ship, which meant something had gone seriously wrong. He looked around the cockpit, the hairs on the back of his neck standing on end, his palms slick with sweat. Shadows seemed to reach out for him. Blinking lights looked like eyes. He shivered. He wasn't going to hang around waiting for some damn space vampire to suck his blood. He'd make a quick report and then get the hell out of there. He called Dixon on the ship's comm. The man answered almost at once, his synthetic face filling the screen. He barked a greeting and asked Sam what he had discovered. Sam told him quickly. Dixon gave a knowing nod. So that's it. Too much time in space drove the pilot mad, and she murdered her companion. Such insanity isn't unknown amongst long-distance flight personnel. Sam was about to lie and tell him he was inclined to agree with his conjecture, when he felt a pricking on the back of his neck. He drew his gun and swung around. Was it his imagination, or was there a distortion in the air behind him? Either way, he wasn't alone. He couldn't say how he knew this, but he did, even before he felt the gentle sucking sensation where he'd been pricked. A wave of dizziness washed over him, clouding his vision. Then, his mind was filled with a series of discordant visions, snapshots of thought and memory from his attacker.